Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ray Tampa podcast. Our podcast is new, our podcast is bold, and truth is our guiding principle. But political correctness is out the door. We will tell it like it is. My name is Ray Tampa, and I'm the host of the Ray Tampa podcast. We have in our studio my co-hosts, two very talented and intelligent gentlemen, Mr. Russell Cato and Mr. Jamie Wilson III. This evening, we're going to discuss the subject of testimony from a key January 6th witness, very key witness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read an article, and afterwards, my co-host and I will engage in a lively discussion about the article. Here's the article. The title: Things would have been drastically different in the January 6th insurrectionists. No, if the January 6th insurrectionists had been predominantly African Americans or other minorities, no doubt. Here's the article. On December 28th, 2022, NBC News' justice reporter, Ryan J. Riley, wrote a pretty thorough article that focused on the testimony of a key witness at the House Select Committee's January 6th hearing. The witness was William J. Walker, the House Sergeant at Arms, who was head of the DC National Guard during the Capitol attack. Mr. Walker offered his pointed opinion, suggesting that law enforcement responses would have looked so much different had the rioters been Black Americans. Reporter Rowley wrote, according to the interview transcript that was released on Tuesday, December 27th, Mr. Walker said, quote, "I'm African American, child of the 60s. I think it would have been a vastly different response if those African Americans if those were African Americans trying to breach the Capitol." End of quote. He went on to say, quote, "As a career law enforcement officer, part-time soldier, last 5 years, full-time, but a law enforcement officer my entire career, the law enforcement response would have been much different." End of quote. Truth be told, Mr. Walker's testimony lends credibility to the belief of millions of Americans, President Biden included, that systemic racism allowed the insurrectionists to damage and trash the Capitol, threaten the lives of lawmakers and staff, cause the death of a rioter and law enforcement officers, seriously injure law enforcement officers, chant "Hang Mike Pence," and disrupt a formal congressional proceeding and simply walk away untouched. Yes, Mr. Walker's testimony was daunting, but not surprising. But his testimony can serve as a wake-up call to all the liberal and almost liberal whites to fully understand that systemic racism was on display for the world to see. Untold millions in the United States and foreign countries saw the real meaning of white privilege. Mm-hmm. The fact that former President Trump has yet to be put in handcuffs is pathetically another indication of white privilege. Just think for a brief moment that President Obama had done only one or two of the things Trump has been accused of. Things would have been much different. The narratives would not sound the same. Comedian Earthquake performed a routine on a Netflix special whereby he said if he was a Capitol police officer during the riot, he would have been popping rioters all over the place while imitating his indiscriminate shootings to the right, to the left, upwards, etc. After emptying his weapon, he said he would have grabbed another officer's gun by saying, quote, "Give me your gun, you're not using it," and then continued his indiscriminate shootings.
Yeah.
Comedy aside, this is believed to be the attitude law enforcement would have taken if the rioters had been African Americans. Sometimes comedy can mirror reality.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. All right.
We don't have enough time.
we don't. Well, we don't have enough time. All right. Well, let's dive into it. What you say, Russ?
We don't have enough time.
What you say, Russ?
Oh, man. I was looking at your third and fourth paragraph, systematic racism, and going down to liberals and most liberals. Liz Cheney, Kinsinger, these are not liberty people. These are conservative Republicans. These are the people who are saying to American people that Trump is a danger to society.
Yes.
These, not the liberals.
But we don't have enough Liz Cheney.
We don't have enough of them.
We might have 5. We might have 5 Republicans that are, yeah.
Cheney is saying, for God's sake, you cannot make this man president. He was the mastermind of this insurrectionist.
Yes.
He was there.
I love Liz Cheney for what she is saying now.
Yes.
And she's on point.
She's on
She's
point.
on point. And she has a reason to be on point.
Yes.
Because she believes in the Constitution.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
She believes in the fairness of our justice system.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
We don't have enough Republicans that
We
we can
don't.
say that about.
That's
Right.
right.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair people. And,
Yeah.
and that's what we don't. But it all goes back to, I mean, obviously they got enough intel to know that Trump was involved, and I know they're trying to do their due diligence to make it stick, but it is definitely a dereliction of duty. And I also feel like what's the Thomas's wife? I think
Jenny.
Jenny's in it.
She's trying to apologize.
I feel like they need to get all of them,
All
hold
of
them
them.
accountable. I mean, the whole crew. But yeah, definitely a dereliction of duty. And Trump was trying to make like he was the one calling for the National Guard. It was Pence. Pence is the one called because they was after his ass. It was Pence that called, and they wanted to make that clear. So the general, I think General Mark Milley was the one that set the record straight.
Mhm.
You know, he set the record straight that it was Pence that contacted him. But see, they want to, it was a minor miscommunication between civilian authorities and military authorities, blah, blah, blah. They had intel, according to thehill.com, they had intel months prior to know that it was going to be violence with this January 6th situation here,
Yeah.
Capitol storming the Capitol. They had intel and no one moved on it. It's the same thing when they had intel about the bombings 9/11. They didn't move on it. They need to get it together. They really need to get it together.
Definitely.
I think what people got to understand that these people were not protesters. Man.
Oh, hell.
They wanted to fight.
These were
Yeah,
insurrectionists. These were
treasonous.
domestic terrorists.
Yes,
They were not protesters.
thank you.
And they live on this idea that we will protest.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
And they're proud of it.
Yeah,
It's a badge of honor. They got it. And it took them 3 hours and 19, it was
Yeah.
a 3-hour, 19-minute delay. If there had been 10 Black people out there, you know what I'm talking about, we gonna get in. It would have been National Guard, Air Force flying over with fighter pilots. I'm trying to tell you. And shot before they even got to the building.
Yeah.
And shot.
That's crazy.
And shot.
But the thing about it, the whole world saw this.
They
Yeah.
saw it.
The
They-
world.
Embarrassment, total embarrassment,
Embarrassment.
They saw
total embarrassment.
We're supposed to be the beacon for democracy
right.
all around the
Yeah.
world.
it. Exactly.
And look what our democracy faced.
It's comedy to other countries. We're the comic relief.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But at any rate, this guy who used to be the head of the DC National Guard, Mr. Walker,
Mhm.
like I said, his testimony didn't surprise me.
No,
Right.
no,
It didn't surprise many people.
Right.
But again, it lent credibility
Mhm.
to the belief that even President Biden was out there saying,
Mhm.
if those
Right.
rioters,
We're black.
insurrectionists were black,
People of color,
would have
black.
been a different
Yeah.
story.
Exactly. It would have been a different story because this, as we were talking, it's a systematic flaw. I mean, look at the prisons. Do the race ratio. It's a systematic flaw. It's designed and we could say this, and people think, our culture is whining, but it's true. It's true. I mean, we have a lot of things against us, and it's almost like it's two separate laws, and it ain't even the have and the have nots. You ain't got to be rich. You just got to be a different color.
Right.
It's just two separate laws. It's two separate laws, and it's not right. These people should be in jail serving hard time already.
hard time.
Look how they used to mess with the Black Panthers for just marching
That's
and
how-
just ain't nothing like this. And they, you know what I mean? They imprison them. This is big.
You can go back to that Kevin McCarthy asshole, who wants to be the Speaker of the House for the Republicans.
Mhm.
When the Congress passed and Biden was about to sign new legislation in terms of this debt ceiling situation.
right, right.
And all the money that was attributed to this bill he was scheduled to sign. McCarthy said that this is the worst monstrosity ever on the floor of this house.
Yeah.
And what did Pelosi say by putting his stupid ass in check? He must have forgotten about J6.
Mhm.
He must have forgotten
Must have.
about J6.
Mhm.
How could he say something was worse than that?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I
They want to pack that away and forget about that.
want to ask the two of you, we're speaking about systemic racism, and that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And systemic racism is all over the country in different forms,
Mhm.
whether it's in Congress, whether it's in the court system, whether it's in the police departments around the country. There was an incident in South Carolina where a police officer was overheard making a statement relative to he can't wait until the rioting started so that he could start killing blacks. And I don't think he said blacks
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
at will. He didn't know he was being recorded.
Mhm.
He didn't know his mic was on. Eventually he was fired.
Oh,
But what he said is systemic.
yeah.
He's not isolated in saying that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
You see, Ray, one of the things, if you look at the Republican Party, what they want to destroy is getting back to wokeism
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mhm.
critical race theory.
You're upset
All
about
this
that.
applies to this.
All this goes-
Everything applies to this.
Yes. Yes.
That's
yes.
what they want to destroy.
Yeah.
If they can destroy that, they can get away with this kind of shit.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
Right. As well as our heritage, our
Yeah.
contribution to the U.S.
Yeah.
And that's why they want to wipe it out clean.
Yes, yes.
It's like,
What
yes, they want to erase.
what DeSantis said in Florida, wokeism is dead.
Right. And just replace it with black, with the word black or people of color.
Oh my God.
Replace that word
That
with people of
man
color.
is so pathetic. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I would love for Tom Brady to see the podcast we did
Mhm.
where we said, fuck Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know, he had a good game the other day.
Mhm.
Yesterday, he had a good game.
Mhm.
3 touchdowns
Yeah.
to Mike Evans. I go back to what we said in that podcast. Fuck Tom Brady. Tom Brady can throw 2 million touchdown passes, as we said in that podcast. But the attitude of many would be, fuck Tom Brady. And if Tom Brady was to ask me personally, hey man, why you do a podcast and say that about me? Well, Tom, one question I want to ask you. One question. Do you support a governor who's a known racist, sexist, xenophobe, divisionist promoter in our country? Do you support somebody like that? And if he says yes, then fuck you, Tom Brady. And if he says no, you lying ass, fuck you, Tom Brady. You lying ass. That's why you can't support that and think that it's okay with us.
No,
You can't support that.
you see,
and
you
think
got,
it's okay.
you can't. Here's what it boils down to, Ray and Jane. The Civil War is not over.
It's not. It's not. They want the South will rise again.
The
They
Civil
want it
War
back.
is
They
not
want
over.
it. But they can't fight like we fight.
No.
I'm gonna tell you something. If it was, and I hope, because there are good people. And I know it sounds like Trump saying there's good people on both sides, but there are some really good people. They're good Republicans. They're good Democrats. It's that few that we talk about. And people understand when we're talking about this, we're talking about the extremists, the racists. We're talking about
the Jim Jordan.
We're talking about the races. We're not talking about this ain't a race war show. This is politics, how a systematic racism. That's what we're talking about. We're speaking out to this, and we are sick of it. And being, our governor's war on being woke, that they want us to drop our head, scratch our head like Stephen Fletcher, and act like we don't know shit. So they can just keep changing laws and doing stuff as if we're not going to fight back.
Scratch our heads like Stephen Fletcher.
So that's what the pushback is. People of color, we need to rise up and stay woke.
Forget Stephen Fletcher. Scratch our heads like, what's the boy name who ran for the Senate in Georgia?
Oh, Herschel.
Oh, that idiot. I bet he don't even know the alphabet. I bet. He's an ignorant ass.
Those racists, they love Herschel.
Yeah, they talking about him too. We had his dumb ass up there where he couldn't do much for us.
Lindsey Graham supported him.
Lindsey Graham, man,
He's an ass.
He's a joke. Believe me, they laugh and joking behind this man back. He's pathetic. I can't watch him talk. It's embarrassing.
Hey, check this out. We did our very first podcast talking about Clarence Thomas. Our first podcast, and we talked about his wife, Jenny, who isn't worth a penny. We talked about that. And we talked about the fact that Clarence Thomas has an attitude of get back at these Negroes.
That's what
they fought against me. And just recently, it was reported in the news last week, I think, where he said he's not going to recuse himself.
No.
He's not going to resign. He's going to stay in office until 2034, something like that, to get back at the people who tried to harm him.
See, and see that, then that's not impartial. Like, because if he's thinking that way, when he's making a decision on somebody's life, that's the same emotion he's putting into it. He shouldn't even be up there.
And that's what we said in that podcast.
He shouldn't even be up there.
His decisions are made and people
it's
that
emotional.
don't even have
you gotta be impartial.
An affinity towards studying justice in our country. They can tell you what his decision is going to be before he makes it. Before he makes it.
Exactly. And he ain't gonna leave until Jenny say he can leave.
Jenny isn't worth a penny. But Jenny should be in handcuffs too.
Oh, him too. Him, her, all of them.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this question here.
I hear you.
As far as the Republicans taking control of Congress in terms of the House of Representatives, do either of you see anything good coming out of them being in charge of the House of Representatives?
No.
Anything?
Nothing.
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 Well, I'm
No.
going to stretch it and say that there could be something good. It could be a silver lining
That
with
they
them
fight
being
against
in
each
charge.
other.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The silver lining. Marjorie Taylor Greene, go over there and slap
Yeah, slap her ass.
Bobert, go slap her,
Yeah.
and then go kick Matt Gaetz in the ass. And what's that boy name that was accused of something to do with those wrestlers in Ohio? What's his name?
Jordan,
The one that said
Jim
he didn't know
Jordan.
anything about it?
Jim Jordan,
Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan.
I wish one of those guys from the past would come out and say, I want to tell everybody now, I'm just tired of Jim Jordan lying so much. He touched me on my butt. I would love to hear that type of testimony come up.
Yeah.
But there could be a silver lining
I
Yeah.
hope so.
in them taking control and fighting against each other. And McCarthy fighting against McConnell. Did you all know that McConnell and Biden will be in Kentucky
Yeah,
promoting?
that's what we got.
Yeah, that's going to be nice to see Biden and McConnell
Yeah.
promoting the infrastructure law.
You-
That's going to irritate Trump like hell.
You know what would quiet all these yahoos and racists down, and that's all coming out the closet being all cocky now. If they could find a way so that Trump can't run again, because now their whole energy and their whole it's all about Trump running again. And sadly, he could potentially run again. Even if he's convicted, he could run again. Based on what I'm reading here, it's section 1, clause 5 of article 2 states that no person except a natural born citizens or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 and be 14 years as far as the resident of that state. Those are the only disqualifications. So you got to be 35. You got to had lived in the state for at least 14 years and be born a U.S. citizen. Those are the only qualifications to be president.
To be president, but
To be-
no, Jay, there is a law
14,
that
yeah,
if you're convicted of a crime,
insurrection.
and it's insurrection,
All right.
Right.
insurrectionist,
I understand that.
then you are disqualified.
Well,
running.
reading this
That's
is basically saying, nope.
What's
Nope.
the case?
Yeah,
Yeah.
eviction indicated,
Yeah.
even
14 to go.
it says, nor could he be barred from taking office if he were to be convicted or even, indicted or even convicted. But in the case of insurrection,
Yeah.
includes no qualification regarding those conditions from holding office, would have previously taken the oath to
Right.
support the Constitution. Shall have, okay, therefore, basically what it's saying is he still can.
Well,
If you guys want to check this
No,
out.
I'm aware and
Yeah.
and I'm willing to put money on the
I am
fact that I
too.
can't call out the statute,
Mhm.
but if you're convicted of
Yeah.
insurrection,
yes.
you're disqualified
If,
from being a
Yeah, like a
candidate.
felon,
for-
like
Yeah.
what they do with felons.
Yeah.
I get it.
well, the 14th Amendment, and the reason why that was in, Jamie,
Mhm.
because that was after the Civil War, the Reconstruction. They was trying to do
Yeah.
all these funny damn
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
and they had to put that in there.
yeah.
You see, and my concern is with this whole thing, right? I'm saying this, when I go back and look at racism and systematic racism, the thing that frightens me, this thing is on the federal level now, right? You see, what it's in Congress. These are the boys that are the racists. These are the boys that got these white supremacy ideas, the
Yeah.
Jim Jordans and all
Right,
these people. That's what scares me.
On the Republican side,
Oh,
it's
man.
more of them
It's more.
than not.
Right.
It's many more of them than not. And that's why I'm saying there could be a silver lining
Yeah.
in them taking control
Yeah.
and fighting each other. I would love to see half of the Republicans in Congress get a pistol and the other half get a different type of pistol. All of them back up to each other, walk 3 paces, not 10, because I want to make sure they don't miss.
Right.
3 paces, turn around and shoot.
Yeah. I'll let one of us shoot. You know, the way they talk about like the way they talk about like the border. I mean, some of these Republicans are so mean. They say stuff like fill the water with alligators. You know, just it's just murder, murder, murder. They just and even with the Mexicans coming over, majority of them fly over anyway. They ain't, they fly over. They got tunnels and stuff like that. They get over here. The way they keep showing that same looped video of them crossing the water, the ones that's trying to do it the right way, but they're getting over here in droves other ways. And they want to make like, oh, they're bringing all the drugs. No, drugs don't get here how they get here. They've been coming. They're not the force of that.
I tell you what, if you really want to look at this thing in a critical sense, if you go back and look at the doctrine of the mega theory and look at the doctrine of confederalism, they are the same.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
They are the same.
Yeah. It's just a pretty, it's just a mega is just another way
It's another
for,
name.
yeah,
but
that's
they
all.
are the same.
It even sounds racist, mega, and that red hat, that just
It scares you. It really scares you.
it pisses me
It
off.
scares
I feel like we, Black and brown people, we are strong people. We take. I feel like I know you got to do stuff by the law, but I just feel like we taking this shit.
Yeah.
I feel like we just, even with this CRT, it pisses me off every time I think of that. It's like it was passed and we're taking it. It still should be some damn unrest. It just be like a damn watch riot. It should be something.
Speaking of
It pissed me off. Like we
Speaking
taking
of
this
that,
shit.
there could be a silver lining in Trump running for president. Now, I want the law over here. Let's hold this law, but let him run. And let him run against dissent. Let them fight. And let them beat up each other. And if Trump wins, then throw the law on him. You're an insurrectionist.
Right.
You're a treasonous. You can't run. You definitely can't run. But we just wanted to see you and DeSantis fight. Tell us. We just wanted to see you and DeSantis fight.
But if y'all get a chance, look, it's called theconversation.com and read this, because they're talking about, because he has some presidential stuff that he can skirt around it. So that's why I mentioned that. And this guy's looking at the pros and cons in this publication here.
He can skirt around what, Jay?
Like, skirt around like some of the laws because he was president. I mean, based on what I'm reading here. That's why I brought that up about what I said, because I'm reading this here. So it's called theconversation.com. Even if January 6th referrals to him turn into criminal charges or conviction, Trump will still be able to run in 2024 and serve as president if elected. So that's
the only issue, Jay, is he being convicted of being an insurrectionist?
Okay.
Treason.
Right. It's all treason. Just hell, holding up a sign, talking shit, stepping on that grass was treason. So it's all treason.
Okay. While you're on your computer, go to the 14th Amendment.
Okay.
Go to the 14th Amendment.
Okay.
But let me say this too, and I was listening when he was talking to us today too. When you look at the Constitution, and one of the things that Black people have to depend upon is the Constitution. We got to depend upon that because we got nothing else.
Right.
That's the true thing. But in making the Constitution, there was something called the 3/5 compromise.
Oh boy.
Remember that?
Yes.
That Black people was a fraction of a person.
Mhm.
We were never a whole person.
Never.
They accepted this. Yeah.
Okay, well, Jay, you found it yet? 14th Amendment?
Yeah, I found it here.
What it says.
It's just giving me a whole bunch of nonsense. Originally passed, 14th Amendment was designed to grant citizenship rights to African Americans and states, and the citizenship
Go
cannot
to
be taken
section
away
2
from.
or 3.
Okay,
It's 2, it's 3, I think.
so what section is it?
Section 3. Go
In
to it.
section 3.
Okay.
It's 2 or 3. You want that start section.
And while Jay is looking for that, I want to thank the two of you for another very nice conversation about the subject matter. As always, it's enjoyable.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jay.
Section 3, 14th Amendment explicitly disqualifies any person from public office who have previously taken an oath as a federal or state official engaged in insurrectional
No,
rebellion.
that's
Right.
it, right.
That's it. That's it.
Right.
All right. Section 3, 14th Amendment
Yeah,
is what disqualifies the asshole by the name of Donald Trump. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we certainly appreciate the fact that you tuned in to 99.1 FM, The Bird, and we ask that you do so each and every Tuesday at 5:30. We also ask that you go to the Weekly Challenger and take a look at some of the articles that we have posted in the Weekly Challenger. And you can go to YouTube.
Yep.
All of our podcasts are on YouTube. Sponsorships are welcome. So with all of that being said, good night.
we take preacher donations.